Hi, and welcome to another episode of Unshakable Her. I am Fermi, your host, and I am so glad that you are here with me today. Today's episode is a great one. I'm very excited to be talking about this. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'm excited that I'm finally here and I'm finally able to have this conversation with you all. I am not afraid. I wouldn't use the word afraid. I would say the word a little bit nervous because I think this episode and my purpose really is for it to come across a little bit as something a little bit more harsh and a little bit stronger than I usually would talk, but I believe it's necessary. And I'll tell you why. I think that we live in a world today where we're leaning towards being more gentle and kind and using kinder words to one another, kinder words to our children, and kinder words to ourselves. And I think that it's super important. Yet at the same time, an extreme of anything, again, this is my belief, I do not believe is beneficial to anyone. Being a little bit too gentle and too kind can sometimes lead to a place of chaos and a place of no growth. Because if we are all here and ultimately our goal is to grow and our goal is to evolve into the best person that we can possibly be, being too gentle and being too nice with ourselves and not pushing ourselves sometimes out of that comfort area, not pushing ourselves to be disciplined, not pushing ourselves to stop engaging in behaviors that are, non-beneficial to us, then that gentleness maybe in a way is ultimately not that gentle and not that kind to who we really are. So let me get to the point because I'm just like smoothing my way around it. This episode is called Unshakable Self-Love. Giving yourself that love that is unshakable. That means no matter what, I will not shake, I will not move, I will stay committed to that love that I will give myself. Now, there's two kinds of self-loves. I believe there is that kind of self-love where I learn to give myself space. I learned to treat myself nicely. I learned to pamper myself. I learned to give myself things when in the past I may have not given myself. That can look like a manicure. That can look like buying myself something small. That can look like getting a massage or taking a bath or relaxing or whatever it is. Giving myself those small pieces of self-love. I feel that's one category of self-love. The other category of self-love is truly loving yourself. Now, what do I mean by that? I think that if you're a mother, you'll really be able to resonate with what I'm saying. And if you're not, this idea of caring for someone else will really help you be able to understand what I mean. As a mom, when we take care of our children, we truly, truly love our kids and we want the best thing for our kid. And sometimes the best thing for our kid doesn't look very good to the kid. Sometimes the kid is not going to be happy with what we believe is the best thing for our kid. They might cry, they might tantrum, they might get upset because our no, right, to them seems horrible. Yet we know that our no that we are giving them is actually our purest definition of love that we are showing them. Let me give you an example, okay? My kid wants candy for dinner. Obviously, I'm going to say no. Not because I don't love my child, but in fact, because I love my child, I will not give my child candy for dinner. I will tell him, no, you're going to sit down and you're going to have some chicken and some salad and some rice, and this is going to be your dinner. If you want afterwards for dessert, I'll give you a tiny little candy, right? But I need you to have that chicken. I need you to have that protein because I care about you, because I love you, because I want you to grow and I want your body to grow in the most healthy way. That is a form of love from a mother to her child when she truly cares about her child and she wants what is best for her child. Another example, right? My child wants to stay up late. All of his friends are outside. They're all playing. It's way past the time that I believe my kid should be playing outside, yet he wants to stay out, right? Now he's going to think that when he comes to ask me if he can have some more time outside, he's going to think to himself, that, yeah, my mom loves me. She's going to say, yeah, of course she wants me to have a good time. Yet on the other hand, the mom knows that this child, specifically this child, needs this amount to sleep, right? In order for them to be able to have a functioning day the next day. And therefore, my answer will be, no, I'm sorry. You're going to go inside now. You're going to go to sleep. You need a good night's sleep. The kid will obviously be upset and not be happy about the situation, right? But ultimately, as the mother, I am showing my child true love because I care about my child's well-being. I care about the effect of their behavior and of what will happen. And because of that, no, you're going to go to sleep and you're going to have a good night's sleep. This is exactly what I mean when I tell you, show yourself self-love. Give yourself that strict love, that strict knowing of what is best for you in every moment of your time. And that will translate into the way that you're going to come across to yourself. That will translate in the purest way that you can love yourself, okay? Now let's break this down with different types of examples so that way you can sort of understand what I am saying. Self-love to you is going to sleep at the right time and making sure that you have that amount of sleep that you need. Self-love is making yourself a nutritious dinner to make sure that you are eating good and healthy food. Self-love means pushing yourself to go to the gym all the time to make sure that you're able to nourish yourself in that way. Self-love means going off your phone, not sitting on your phone for hours and hours and hours and hours, but knowing just like I wouldn't let my child sit for hours on the phone, I am not going to let me sit on my phone for hours. It's this idea that you are your human. You are the human that you need to take care of. It's about taking yourself out of the picture for a moment, taking out that child inside of you that's just like, let me just scroll for another half an hour, or just like, I don't have any patience to make any dinner for myself tonight. I'm just going to pop a pizza in. I'm not going to actually invest in the time to make myself a nutritious dinner. Or like, I'm just going to let myself fall asleep right over here and not actually like get up and change and put on pajamas and go into bed. But I think that every person has the examples that really resonate with them in the areas where they're just letting themselves be the child in the situation, letting themselves get away with whatever it is that they're doing. And I think, and this is what I mentioned in the beginning, I think sometimes we confuse ourselves and we think that by just letting ourselves go and by giving ourselves those leniencies, right? We're not actually giving ourselves self-love in that moment. We're doing just the opposite. If you would actually invest in truly loving yourself and in truly taking care of yourself in the way that a mother would care for a child, in the way that a person would be responsible to care for another human, we would be much, much more disciplined in the way that we would give ourselves self-love. We would be much, much more disciplined in the way that we would allow ourselves to behave. So I think part 2 of self-love, and I think that this is a much bigger chunk than the first part of self-love, is truly investing into yourself, in the same way that a mother loves her child, truly giving yourself the love that you know you truly need. And this comes from a place of maturity. This comes up from a place of having to like step into your higher self, to that place of, 1 minute, let me take a look at this from like an outside pair of glasses. I'm not going to allow myself to look at it from that inside childish place. I'm going to step out for a moment, and I'm actually going to give myself that purest love that I need. Okay. Now, what does this look like? Let's like actually look at it. What does this look like? If you know that you need to eat certain kinds of foods to help yourself get from point A to point B, okay? Whether that looks like, I want to lose weight, I just want to feel better, I just want to be an overall healthier person, right? Any of those things, if I want to get from point A to point B, I need to pour into myself the same amount of self-love that my mother would have poured into me, or my mother figure, if your mother wouldn't have, poured into you, right? To help you get from point A to point B. Now, if you're a mother, you know exactly what that looks like. That looks like, I will prepare for my child nutritious meals. I will make sure that my child is eating 3 meals a day nutritiously. You may complain and you may say, this is going to take me so much time. I can't do this. It's so difficult. I don't have enough time. give yourself that time. Cutting out that time for yourself to make yourself that nutritious meal is the purest form of self-love. Not only is it the purest form of self-love, but you are really truly allowing you, that person that wants to change, that person that wants their life to sort of look a little different than it's looked until now, to actually trust you. Because suddenly, look, this woman is taking care of me. This human is taking care of me. I took out an hour to prepare myself a really great meal. I sat down and I had a good, nutritious meal. I felt really good afterwards. I felt healthy. And guess what? I did that for 7 days in a row, and you cannot imagine how great I felt after 7 days. Hypothetically speaking, I'm not speaking about me right now, but I'm saying investing that time, that hour that you keep on saying, I don't have that hour to make myself a meal, right? Investing that hour into yourself to create a healthy, nutritious meal for yourself is self-love, okay? Another one, binge watching. I think this is one of the greatest ones, okay, that we really struggle with today. Not to say that sitting and scrolling is wrong, and not to say that sitting and watching is wrong. No. Especially if you're a mom, especially if you're a single mom, especially if you're a busy person and you do not have a lot of time to give it to yourself. No, it's not wrong. But are you really being smart about the way that you're giving it to yourself? Do you really need those 2 hours every single night? If you were the mother in that situation and your child was taking that time and you knew that they could have used that time more productively, would you allow your child to be sitting on that phone for 2 hours just scrolling and watching every single night? And based on the way that you're going to answer that question, you'll be able to tell yourself, when I sit down at night and I'm scrolling for an hour or two, is that really truly self-love? Or is that me being that child wanting that thing that ultimately is not good for me? Because we all know that after you get up, after sitting and scrolling for 2 hours, right, you're not feeling better. That did not make you feel better. After a week of doing that, your life has not changed. Nothing has happened. Okay? It's literally a time for you to tune out. It's a time for you to, you want to say, relax and just get your mind off things. Great. Perfect. But how much time are you allowing yourself to do that? And ultimately, would you say that that is pure, true love for yourself? And I think that that's a thought that we really need to think to ourselves. And here is where I'm saying that, like, this is about coming to yourself like a mother to a child that's a little bit more disciplined, that's a little bit more harsh, that's a little bit not as gentle as we always want as a child for someone to be with us. But in reality, when we translate the behavior, okay, and we translate the discipline that we're giving ourselves, is it not being gentle, or is it maybe the purest form of love that one can give oneself when they do put that discipline into their lives? Another example, if you have small children, right? What does your life look like after they go to bed and they're sleeping at 7, 8 o'clock? What does that gap look like right over there? Are you giving yourself true love in those moments? Are you allowing yourself to take a good, nice hot shower, to put on a fresh pair of pajamas, to go to bed, to read a book? What would you tell your child to do in that moment? Do you just dump your child into bed after a long day without showering, without cleaning themselves up, without a fresh pair of pajamas, without reading a nice book before they go to sleep? What does their bedtime process look like compared to your bedtime process? Are you giving yourself that time? And if you aren't, that's a place to step in, to truly start giving yourself that purest form of self-love. Okay? I think everyone has their own examples that they resonate with, their own struggles, their own challenges, where they just step in sometimes as a child there. They're not thinking in the form of like a parent, right? Or like a mother. They're sort of thinking in the form of the child, of I just want to eat this piece of cake right now. Not literally speaking, but like, I just want to enjoy this moment right now. But ultimately, is this moment really going to help you? Is this moment something that's really going to help you on this path of growth and change that you want to go on? If you're trying to get from point A to point B, are you really treating yourself in the manner of a mother that is caring for the child, or are you treating yourself in the manner of being the child? And asking yourself these questions and seeing, where do you stand? And if you are in the situation, which we all are, in everyone in different areas, where you are being that child and you are tantruming and you're like, I just want to do this right now and I don't care, and I don't care about the repercussions of what is going to happen, know that It's just going to take you longer to get to point B. And if you want to get to point B, you're going to have to strap on that seatbelt, and you're going to have to strap on that discipline, and you're going to have to be more disciplined, and you're going to have to be that mother who's going to tell her child, no, we are not doing this today, and pushing yourself to do it. And trust me, after some time, when you tell your child no for the same thing again and again and again, the child just accepts it. And at a certain point, they even appreciate it. They say all kids appreciate discipline. And we know that. And we've all seen that, especially all the moms out there. So yeah, you may not appreciate the self-love that you're giving yourself at first and pushing yourself into that situation of self-love. But ultimately, you will appreciate it because you will see how you are slowly moving from point A and getting to point B. You will literally see the footsteps. You will see the changes. And quite literally, you might see the changes, or even not literally, but you will see the changes from getting to point A to point B. One more thing I want to say, and I just want to bring this analogy because I think it's so important, especially to the mothers out there, and especially to the single mothers out there who really are in a situation where we have to pour. We are in a situation where we're constantly giving and we're constantly pouring out. And there is no way for us to be able to pour out from our cup if our cup is not strong, okay? I want you to imagine it sort of in the way of like a teacup. I have a teacup, and in the teacup, I have some coffee, okay? If my teacup is not perfect and round and is able to hold that coffee, the coffee will start to drip out. The coffee will start to drain out slowly, okay? If you want to be able to hold whatever it is that you need to hold, okay, whether that's your children, the life that you're leading, if you want to even hold more coffee, okay, you need to make sure that that cup is so strong. And the only way that your cup is going to be strong is by giving yourself self-love. And remember, that looks like two things. That looks like giving yourself that love of giving yourself those small things that make you happy. And then there's giving yourself that love where right now you're not going to enjoy the pressure or the discipline that you're going to give yourself, but you're going to pour into yourself that love. And by pouring into yourself that love, you are going to feel better about yourself. You are going to be able to hold so much more, because every night that you're going to eat a good, nice, nutritious meal, you will feel better the next day. You will be a different mother the next day. Every night that you're not going to sit scrolling, and instead of scrolling, you're going to get to errands that you didn't get to. You're going to read a book, or you're going to start cleaning up your house, or you're going to do the things that you've been avoiding until now, right? You will come out better the next day. You will feel better. And do that for 1 week in a row. You're going to see a whole completely different person at the end of that week. Your cup is just going to be stronger. You're going to be able to hold your package with so much more strength. And if you're a single mom, holding that package of your kids, of being alone, of handling it all on your own, is quite tough. You need to make sure that that cup is so strong that it's able to hold the package that it has, that it's able to hold the coffee that it's holding. You cannot allow these trickles or these cracks to start forming, and then the coffee is slowly going to be pouring out. One more thing that I do want to bring up that I think is very important to bring up, and again, it's going to come across as harsh, but I'm going to say it because I believe that it's meant to be said. Do not confuse self-love with dopamine hits. Do not confuse the two. Self-love is giving yourself those things that truly, deeply from inside make you happy, that truly give you peace, that truly give you calmness, that truly give you that pleasure, that hope, that joy, that fulfillment that you crave, that you want. And that looks like a bath, that looks like a manicure, that looks like a massage, that looks like a nice, delicious meal, that looks like sitting around with friends that uplift you. Dopamine hits is not self-love. Dopamine hits are things that you think make you happy, but they're just band-aids. Those are things that make you happy in the moment, but it goes away, and many times that dopamine hit leaves you feeling emptier than you've felt before. Those dopamine hits, and part of them is sitting and scrolling on your phone for hours. That's drinking. That is hanging out with the wrong people. That is hanging out with the people that are not ultimately there for you, and they make you feel a certain way. They make you feel happy for whatever reason, in whichever situation that may look like, but it's not real. It's not ultimately fulfilling you. These are not people that actually truly care about you. And you walk away feeling emptier than you felt before. That is not self-love. Do not confuse the two. And I think that we do confuse the two, but it's not the same thing. Dopamine hits is literally like taking a Band-Aid and putting it over that crack in the teacup, thinking that that Band-Aid is going to help the situation right now. It's like I have that crack in my teacup. I have that thing that I need to work on. I need to fix it. I need to glue it back together and make my cup strong again. And instead of me actually internalizing it, giving myself the purest form of self-love to fix my teacup, to create that vessel that is able to hold my package, my coffee or whatever it is, I choose in the moment to run to a dopamine hit, to something that will just be a Band-Aid and sort of cover that crack for just a little while. And before you know it, the coffee starts pouring out so much that the Band-Aid loses its power. And before you know it, the coffee is dripping out again because it's not real. It's not something that's true. So to wrap up this episode, I know there was a lot, and I know that it may have been a little harsher than usual. Sometimes harsh is the truest form of love. And I think that self-love is important to give yourself. And that, yes, looks like those small things that make you ultimately happy. But the purest form of self-love is taking care of your human, of taking care of you, taking care of yourself just in the way that a mother will take care of her child. Not allowing yourself to fall into that place of being the child, of tantruming, of wanting those things that you know ultimately are not good for you, that the mother in this situation knows ultimately that this is not good for this child, that this is not good for this human, and is therefore not good for you. And really, at the end of the day, not confusing self-love with dopamine hits. Not confusing those moments where I want to pour love into myself and thinking that a dopamine hit, right, is what's going to make me happy. Because it's not. It's not giving myself love. It's not making me happy. In fact, ultimately, you may not feel it right away. It will leave you feeling emptier than usual. Thank you for joining me today. I am so excited that you have been here. I wish you all much ease and much love in your journey that you're going through, and ultimately clarity of just knowing what's best for you. Until next time.